Hello, hello, hello. Today's episode is going to be wonderful and highly tactical. I'm going to talk about something that I know affects a lot of you because it affected me and it might still affect you. Social anxiety. Let's talk about it. We're going to talk about how to defeat social anxiety today. Okay? Now, let's define social anxiety. Okay? Social anxiety is the diagnosis that what you do is your mind starts running rampant when you're in a social setting of all sorts of alternate paths of reality that could happen based off of you interacting with people. Okay? Now, that's not the psychological definition, but that's what's going on, right? Your ego is coming up with all sorts of stuff, or at least that's what it was for me. Right. And I overcame that. And well, let me give you some examples of like what I would experience. Right. And it's particularly where I was experiencing it a lot. And by the way, this is like a epidemic since the big C. You know what I'm talking about? We're actually not allowed to say that word on here, which is like a little totalitarian, but that's okay. Okay. Censorship's fine. Whatever. Okay. It's not actually fine. I don't really like that. I agree with the First Amendment, but it's okay. You know what I'm talking about? 2020. All right. So the big C word. Hello, Celeste. Yes, you don't have social anxiety. You'll just come in and meow, meow, meow while I'm doing a podcast. I love that. You're such a cute cat. Anyways, I started having social anxiety pretty bad. I mean, like come 2021, 22, like I would go in social settings. I wouldn't talk to people. Like I would be right around a bunch of people that are just like people there where whatever the setting is, right? Like even a rave where everybody's super inclusive, super fun, everybody's nice. Hey, you're hitting my podcast setup. That's super nice that you're doing that. But so social anxiety was something I battled, and like it's because I would assume I would make up in my mind the stuff they're gonna say before they even like I wouldn't even talk to them, and I'd be like, well, if I said hi to them, they're probably gonna say, hey, can you shut up? Like I don't want to talk to you, or something like dumb, right? Like something that will like when you've had these thoughts, right, and then you've operated off of not doing something out of fear of them reacting a particular way, I can't think of a single time, but can you think of a single time in your life where the outlandish negative thing that you thought was going to happen happened? Because I can't. Like, it's never happened. Like, people are going to be kind in most cases, right? Maybe you're waiting in line at Starbucks and you ask somebody, hey, are you in line? And they're like, in a suit and on a call, and they're like, do you mind? I'm on a phone call or something, right? Like it could happen, but more often than not, like strangers are going to be kind to you. And this was post, the biggest psyop in the world, right? For me at least. And like, obviously we've been social conditioned to like, stay 6 feet away from everybody, and like don't talk to people, have a mask on, right? Like crazy stuff. And so how did I defeat it, right? Well, first off, we need to talk about self-image a little bit, right? Because we are our thoughts and beliefs to a certain extent, right? At the core of our being, we aren't. But at the surface level, when we're talking about, using our consciousness to observe our thoughts, right? The thoughts and beliefs that you hold about yourself will reflect in your tangible reality, right? And so if you're having a lot of these thoughts, just like I was, maybe, and Alex Hormozy talks about this, but maybe your mind is running rampant and having these thoughts because you don't trust yourself. You don't believe in yourself. And where does that come from? Well, it comes from the fact that for a long time, you've been telling yourself you're going to do A, B, C, X, Y, Z, this, that, and the other thing, and you haven't followed through on it, right? You don't have a stack of undeniable wins of, I said I was going to do this thing, then I did that thing. So I am the type of person that does the things that I say that I'm going to do. I know that. I believe in myself. And therefore, I'm having this inclination to, I think that person has really cool style. So I'm going to go up to that person. I'm going to tell them, hey, you have cool style, right? I'm not going to go, I kind of want to tell that person they have cool style, and you go, yeah, maybe they'll think that's like weird or something, and maybe they don't want to talk to you, right? Like you're a stranger. Don't go up to strangers. Relax, bro. Relax, right? So maybe your self-identity and your self-belief, your self-image is that of a person that doesn't trust themselves. because you don't have a stack of undeniable wins of my past track record and trajectory show that I do the things I say I'm going to do. So I trust me, right? So that was one of the things in social settings outside of, fitness. The gym's a whole different beast, a whole different animal, which we'll talk about here in a second. But outside of the fitness sector, that was one of the things was like, I came to this like level of consciousness where I was like, I don't need any affirmation from this person to reflect back my internal value. I know my value because I know the things that I do on a daily basis. I know the person I am today, the person I'm becoming, and I know my starting point, the person that I was and who I am now, not the same person. I'm a much better person in tangible reality, and I'm working to become even better. So I know I'm a good person at the core of my being. So I'm just going to spark this person up in conversation. And even if, which this never does happen, right? I can't say 100% certainty. You'll never experience an event where your social anxiety is reaffirmed, right? I can't tell you that, right? Because I don't know. There are people out there that might, bite your head off for something, right? And then you'd be like, oh, see, I was right. But like more often than not, I promise you, I can confirm over 50% for sure that's not going to happen. Okay. And so like, I just got to the point where I just talk to random strangers when I'm in public. I'll just talk to random people that I'm standing next to in line when I'm waiting for my Subway sandwich or whatever it may be. Right. Like it catches so many people off guard because like most people don't do that. They just like are in their own world, or they're experiencing social anxiety and they're thinking about what is this person next to me probably thinking about. Like they don't want to talk to me. Maybe they're going through something, but actually more people need to do this, right? Because this is an epidemic, and like, dude, you don't know what other people are going through. Like you might say a compliment that literally like it flashes into your mind. You're like, hey, I want to tell this person I like their shoes, right? And like, you don't know what they're going through. They could be having the worst day of their life. They could be contemplating Control-Alt-Deleting, and you say something nice to them. You look them in their eyes and say, hey, you have really nice shoes. Like, I hope you have a beautiful day. What are you grateful for, right? Ask them something that's going to be a pattern interrupt, change their thought process. I always ask people what they're grateful for. I love it because a lot of times I'll say, hey, what are you grateful for? And they stop what they're doing and they're like, haven't thought about that today. And I'm like, maybe you should think about it. I'll be back over in a minute and I'll ask you again. Maybe you'll have some time to think about it and you'll give me an answer, right? It's a pattern interrupt. It changes their thought biases. And so like, you don't know what other people are going through. What if that person was really having a bad day and they were considering making an irrevocable decision, and your compliment reaffirmed to them that there's still light in the world, and then they didn't do it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a 100, that's a 0 to 100 example right there. But like that's not unfeasible. Okay. In today's world, economically, people are stretched thin. Socially, people are battling their own demons in their own mind, not talking to anybody about it. Like, be the light, bro. And by being the light, you're going to make more light, right? Because somebody out there is going to go, you know what? That person gave me a nice compliment. I want to go give someone else a compliment. Right? It can be that simple. Now, I wanted to touch on the gym, right? Because that was a whole different thing, right? I'm talking about post Big C, okay? Post Big C, 21, 22-ish, right? And then when I got into the gym and like I was obese, right? And like, this is something I've talked about, largely documented on social media. I even did a whole episode about it, but I was obese in February of 23. I got into the gym, man, and like a lot of people don't really get into the gym because like they have this irrational, I'm telling you right now, like totally 100% irrational, coming from someone that's a gym rat. I go every single day now. But even like my experiences from back then when I was obese and I was dealing with social anxiety, totally irrational belief where you're like, people in the gym are judging me and like they're gonna think I'm fat or stupid, or my form's gonna be wrong, and they're gonna be secretly laughing about what I'm doing. Like, look, that guy doesn't know what he's doing. I can promise you, again, I can't give 100% certainty, right? Because I'm not God, right? But like more than 95% of people for sure aren't thinking about that. Nobody's looking at you in judgment in the gym. If anything, when I see someone that's really obese nowadays, as I'm fit, and I see them in the gym, my first thought is, I am overwhelmingly proud of that person. They are in the gym, and knowing from this perspective, knowing that they're probably battling in their own mind right now, social anxiety, thinking other people are judging them, they're here anyways, and they're busting butt and they're building their temple, even though it's outside of their comfort zone. I think that is awesome, right? People aren't judging you. Like, I had this irrational fear when I came into the gym that like, everybody's gonna know I don't know what I'm doing. I'm fat. I don't fit in here. None of that's real, man. None of it. Like I said, the example of like someone coming up to you and going, hey, I've noticed you're here. I see your consistency. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you, right? You're going to hear that more than the negative affirming stuff. Like, it's not real, man. It's not real. Like, I need to drill it into your head. You know, you have your higher self. You have God consciousness, source consciousness. You have your lower self. You have Satan. You have the enemy, the dissenting voice, right? You're the conscious awareness behind your thoughts, not your thoughts. You've got both these things, the higher self. You have the ego, the monkey mind, right? You get to pick what thoughts you resonate with. Thoughts fly in, you decide which ones you like, which ones you don't, you throw them out, okay? And like, bro, it's not real. People aren't judging you. People aren't thinking these negative things about you. You walk up to someone in the gym, like, they're going to be nice to you. Like, it's just, I cannot say that I've ever had a negative interaction with someone in the gym. In fact, actually, no, that's not true. I did have a negative reaction one time, and check this out. I transmuted this so fast, and I hit her with a pattern interrupt. She was like probably 75, 80 years old lady. Hit her with a pattern interrupt. She was so just taken aback that it ended, like the negative interaction turned into a positive interaction. Check this out. It was in a little one of those circuits, right, where the machine, there's a timer and every machine's flip-flopping, right? And this particular gym only had one hamstring press, and so I'm like the seated, and so I was like, dude, I need to hit this. And you know, I'm sitting here, I'm doing my 3 sets instead of just doing the 30 seconds on the circuit. And this old lady walks over to me, and like, I have noise canceling headphones on. And like, she walks right up to me, and like, I can tell by her body language and her mouth and her scowl, she's yelling at me, yelling at me. And I'm like, what is going on? So I take a headphone out. I'm like, hey. And she's like, you're using this, and this is my machine. I need to use this right now. It's in the circuit. And my buddy that was working out with me, actually, he got triggered. He was like so mad. He like almost started yelling back at her. He like puffed up, and big ripped guy. And I was like, wait, relax. And I was like, hey, you know, we're actually using it right now. I'm sorry, but we're almost done. We only have 1 set left. Like, it'll be less than a minute, and then you can take over. I'll wipe it down for you before you get on, if that's cool. And she just like stopped talking for a second, totally taken aback. Like, I think she like she was wanting me to argue with her. You know what I'm saying? Like, she thought I was just going to spit back that same energy at her, and totally smacked her with a pattern interrupt. I was nice. And I asked her, hey, you know, I know it's your machine, right? But can I like use it? Like, I'm using it right now. Can I like just like maybe finish using it? And she totally flip-flopped. She's like, actually, you know, yeah, sure. That's fine. If it's only going to take 1 more minute. Yeah, sure. And then, yeah, totally. Like, that's a particular example, but like the negativity, it wasn't real. It was just like people's reaction to you is a lot more to do with what they're doing and what they're about than what's going on with you. If someone starts yelling at you randomly, like that particular example, that's all them. That's what's inside of them. You don't need to accept that energy. You just go, whoa, hold on. I'm going to be nice to you. I'm going to be more nice than I am to other people that are just nice off the rip, because you need it. And so yeah, all that is to say, the whole philosophy that really it comes down to this: you're listening to your monkey mind, your ego, Satan, the enemy, your lower self, whatever vocabulary word you want to prescribe to, right? You're listening to dissenting thoughts and opinions in your own mind that are allowing you to negatively impact your external reality. Like, you're in line at a Starbucks, and you know, you want to talk to this cute girl behind you, right? That could be your wife. You see what I'm saying? And because your social anxiety told you not to talk to her, You never sparked that conversation. You just got your coffee, you were silent, you kept your head down looking at the floor, you walk out, you leave, you never see her again. Okay, and by the way, that last part of that sentence, you never see her again, that is a double entendre. That's actually a good thing, because you can use that for positive polarity. Think about this. You turn around and you say some cheeky thing. Hey, I really like your hair. Like, what are you doing later? I'd love to take you to coffee. Hey, we're at a coffee house right now. Can I drink this coffee with you? Worst case scenario, she absolutely like does not feed onto it, hates your riz. I hate the term riz, but you know, it's modern, whatever. It's vocabulary of the day. Right? She just doesn't bite. She's not feeling you, and she just totally rejects you. Okay. Oh, you have to battle rejection. Guess what? You're never going to see her again in your entire life, ever. How awesome is that? Okay, if she says yes, cool. We're gonna have a nice coffee date. I'm gonna get to talk to this lovely lady, and then we'll maybe exchange information. We'll go about our ways. If she says no, and you're like, oh, okay, that's fine. Thanks anyways. And then maybe you know, she's behind you in line. You buy her coffee anyways. You grab your coffee. You leave without saying another word. You're never gonna see her again, ever, in your entire reality. So who cares? It doesn't even matter, bro. Dude, I roll with my windows down in the car all the time. And when I pull up to a red light and someone next to me has their windows down, I'll just start yelling and screaming at them. And not road raging, like, right? You know, I have a bunch of different bits. I just try to provide positivity and light to the world, bro. And like one of my bits is like, I'll pretend to be road raging, like super angry, but I'll be saying overwhelmingly positive stuff. You know, like, hey! And then they look over and I'm like, I hope you have a great day. And they look confused for a second, and then they smile, and then they're laughing, and it lightens up their day, right? Because like people aren't doing that, bro. It's like out of the norm. It's a pattern interrupt. It's breaking their regular routine and tradition of what they do on a daily basis. And that light, that love is going to carry on through them to other interactions that you're not even privy to, right? Dude, I'm telling you, social anxiety, it's a virus. It's a mind virus. But actually, when you actually become the type of person that does the things that you say you're going to do, you're committed to the truth of what you want to become, you're intentional, you're willfully going towards a purposeful direction, and you have a stack of undeniable wins under your belt that gives you confidence, you now don't have social anxiety, because what do you have to be anxious about? If I go into a social setting and I want to talk to someone, whatever capacity that is, whether it's, you know, I'm trying to flirt with somebody, it's a romantic capacity, whether I see that they have a Rolex on and I want to network with that person, whether it's a good or bad outcome, it doesn't matter, because if it's good, you expand your network and that's awesome. If it's bad, oh well, you walk away from that interaction and you never have to think about it again, because that interaction's over. You're never going to see that person ever again. But the worst case scenario, worse than the rejection, is thinking the thought and then not doing anything about it, and then just looking down at the floor, twiddling your thumbs. Oh, you know, I wouldn't want to put myself in a situation that could potentially be a little bit socially uncomfortable. Don't do that anymore. You know, I've been raised up to believe, if you think of a compliment, right? If source, divine consciousness, divine clarity, unity, God, whatever you want to prescribe it to, if it gives you the inclination to say something positive to somebody in your general vicinity, it is your moral obligation to then share that thing, because that thought didn't come into your mind for no reason, right? Like I said earlier, that person might be having a really bad day, and you saying that compliment to them might brighten up their day. It probably will. And we don't know to what level that is, right? It could be like, it's just like a mildly bad day. It could be the worst day of their life. And you sparking that little bit of light in conversation to them, fantastic. Social anxiety is not real. And that might offend some people. That might trigger some egos, because, hey, Jake, I really do deal with social anxiety. Like, you can't tell me my mental illness isn't real. Well, I mean, I dealt with it too, okay? So I'm saying social anxiety is not real from an individual that actually dealt with social anxiety and has conquered it. Why I'm saying it's not real is because it has to do with your internal game. Your mind is flawed. Social anxiety is not real. It's just a lack of confidence. And you have a lack of confidence because you don't believe in you. and you don't believe in you because you've been telling yourself you're going to do a series of things for a long time. I'm going to get up early today. I'm going to make my bed. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to start eating healthier, right? I don't care what it is. You've been telling yourself you're going to make this change, whatever that looks like for you in your life, for a long period of time, and you haven't been doing it. So you no longer trust yourself. So you are dealing with anxiety because your mind is plagued. But it's not real because it can be reversed. You don't need big pharma to dope you up with all sorts of stuff, all sorts of cocktails of garbage to fix your mind. Okay, you got everything in you already. You just have to fix your habits and disciplines and become a better version of yourself, and it'll all course correct. And by the way, another thing, going back to, I said big pharma, big food, right? I don't know if you know this, the average individual, average adult human has 80,000 thoughts a day. And by the way, 90% of your thoughts come from the sanctity and the clarity of your gut microbiome. Okay? What you're feeding yourself matters. And I'm not just talking, I am talking about food, but I'm talking about entertainment that you're taking in, the TV shows you're watching, right? Education content that you're taking in, right? Are you playing video games that are super gory? Are you watching the news, right? Those things are seeping into your consciousness, but specifically like the food aspect, right? You're feeding yourself garbage, like highly processed GMO garbage that's disguised as food. You're going to have highly processed garbage thoughts. This is like scientifically documented. I'm not making this up. This isn't some fugazi stuff. This isn't like wishy-washy, magic ethereal thoughts right here. This is legit stuff, okay? You are what you eat. Thoughts and everything. So start changing it around. Fix your gut microbiome. Start executing at a level that's higher than you've previously been executing at, so you can start believing in your own potential. Have belief in yourself. And that social anxiety, it's not going to go away day one. But you know what? I like speaking back to the physical, right? And going back into the fitness allegory. I'm ripped now, okay? I like wearing sweatpants and hoodies so that people can't really tell how ripped I am. But when I go into the gym wearing a Y-back muscle tee and I got these short shorts on, people are treating me differently nowadays, dude. Like, people are just respected. Also, another thing with that, like back when I was working a desk job when I was 19, I was sort of, I was one of those pencil pushers, big nerd. Okay, I wore suits to a call center desk job. Didn't have to. No dress code. You can wear whatever you want. Basketball shorts if you want. I wore an Armani suit, a $2,500 suit. I'm 19. We got people in here that are 50 plus years old working in here, and they're just in regular clothes. I'm wearing an Armani suit. Why was I doing that? Well, just because, I was a very wealthy, arrogant kid that just wanted to flex, right? But that's beside the point. Why I'm sharing this allegory is because one day, I remember this specifically. This was crazy and it's stuck in my mind. What happened was I went to Chick-fil-A on my motorcycle. I went to Chick-fil-A on my break, right? So suit, motorcycle helmet, rocking a motorcycle. Hilarious, okay? But I get into Chick-fil-A, crazy long line, all right? I'm talking up to the door. And I don't know if it was my body language or what, or I was checking my phone, but I was in a rush. I only had enough time to order the food, get the food, eat it real quick, and go back to work. I had a limited time for my break. And the people in front of me, the person directly in front of me must have recognized that I was a little zooming. I was in a quick pace, right? And maybe, highly possibly, it had something to do with the status presented and commanded by the outfit I was wearing. I'm wearing a $3,000 suit. The person right in front of me goes, "Hey, sir, you can go right ahead." And I was like, wow, thank you. And then the person in front of them, "Sir, you go ahead." And then every single one of the people, there was like 12 people in line. Every single one of them let me cut them, and I was the next person to order. I walked right past the entire line and ordered my food. Okay, I'm just remembering this event now. Why did that happen? Well, that happened because I was executing at a high level. My self-image was dialed in, and my self-image was reflected in what I was wearing. I'm looking spiffy. I'm in a really nice suit. And the people around me felt that radiating off of my conscious awareness. And they went, I'm going to treat this person with extra respect. Go ahead, right ahead, sir. People older than me. I'm 19 years old at this time. Got a little baby face and I'm wearing a suit. Why are all these people that are way older than me calling me sir? Weird, but it happened. And see, that's right here. That is self-confidence. And I know this podcast is about social anxiety not being real, but social anxiety is just the antithesis to self-confidence, because when you are self-confident and you believe in yourself, you have that rock solid belief, what that happens to be for you is it cross cancels out. It's the positive polarity to the negative polarity that is social anxiety, right? And so when you have that self-confidence and belief in yourself, it cross cancels out the social anxiety. And that's just a fact. So maybe this hasn't been super empathetic, right? And like if you're dealing with social anxiety and you're battling that escapade in your life right now, I am not trying to minimize your battles at all. I'm telling you, I came from this, okay? I dealt with this in periods of my life, and perhaps I'll deal with it in periods of my life in the future. But the tools and resources, I'm sharing the tools and resources that I've used to get out of this mind state. And like, it really just comes down to having a stack of undeniable evidence that you are who you say you are, believing in yourself, and then those negative, low vibrational thoughts that pop into your mind, that still pop into my mind today. But when they pop into my mind, I'm like, no, I just reject it. I reject all possibility of that thought being real, right? And then I don't experience it in my reality. And that's because I'm confident in myself and my ability to act and my ability to choose more empowering beliefs. So I'm not minimizing your social anxiety. I'm just hopefully arming you with the necessary tools to combat it in a way that leads you to more compound growth. So I hope that was tactical. I think it was. Sounded like it was to me. One of my favorite things, we're done with this topic. I'll just wrap up here. But one of my favorite things about podcasting is like, dude, this is just like I get into a flow state and I pick I don't go off notes. I don't have nothing except a topic. I just have a title, and then I just rip and let my mind go into a flow state and just talk about whatever it is that I want to talk about that is the topic for the day. And I just let it go. And I think I have the quote unquote gift, right? I think I can get into a flow state and render useful service to my fellow man and provide valuable insight that can hopefully lead to forward momentum and positive compound growth for other individuals listening to this. So I hope you have a wonderful, beautiful, blessed day. Go out there and crush your social anxiety day by day, conversation by conversation. Okay. I want to leave you with actually like homework today, right? When you go out and do whatever you're doing outside of your house, the day that you're listening to this podcast, whatever it may be, when you're in a social setting, maybe you're ordering food, maybe you go to a coffee shop, maybe, I don't know, whatever it looks like for your day. I don't know what you do on a daily basis, but I urge you, I challenge you to talk to a random person. Just talk to them. Spark a random stranger up in conversation. That's your homework. I hope you have a beautiful, blessed day. Love you. See ya.